What is up, Bears fans? This is the Bear Necessities Podcast. Welcome into our end of the season recap show. I'm John Prisnowski, joined alongside my podcast co-host, my BFF, my compadre, Mr. Jack Lomax. Did you enjoy your Victory Monday?
Oh, it's fucking sweet, man! It was sweet! We can be smiling. We can be wearing our Bears gear. We're happy.
It's refreshing wearing Bears gear throughout the week. Although yesterday kind of put a damper on my mood with the press conference. But we have a lot to get to today, obviously, guys. First, we're gonna give our Bears Packers recap. First time Bears beating Green Bay since 2018. First time at Lambeau since 2015. Woof. But a win's a win, and bragging rights are bragging rights until we see them later on this year. So 1-0 in 2025. I mean, we'll take it. Undefeated, right? We'll take it. We're going to give our reaction to the Bears press conference. Obviously, a lot to get to, a lot to dissect, and I wanted to wait to put out a show this week because I wanted to really give my perspective on whatever those buffoons were talking about yesterday at Hallis Hall, because we continue to do this cycle every 3 years, talking about a new head coach search, a new GM search, whatever it is. And that coaching search, that is a growing list. I mean, last time I counted, it was 14 names, 15 names. Jack and I are going to get to who we think the top 3 candidates should be. And then finally, I mean, as a fan base collectively, do we have any trust in this organization that they'll get this done and then they're going to choose the right selection? It's going to be tough. It's going to be tough. And they have yet to prove to us they truly know what they're doing. So before we get into the press conference from yesterday, again, let's talk about that Bears-Packers Sunday game and how fitting, Jack, how ironic that it came down to a Cairo Santos last-second kick.
Redemption from the Brazilian. Oh, I was stoked. I don't know about you, but I was absolutely shitting my pants, saying if he misses this again or if he gets blocked, it is just going to blow up the internet. And I'll delete the internet. I won't delete social. I will delete the internet. I will go all Luigi on this. I'm done with all Packers fans being obnoxious about it. So it was nice to see Cairo and his celebration, his soccer celebration. Let's go, baby! Running across that. Oh, it was so good. It was so happy. Good for Cairo.
Was beating Green Bay more important than improving our draft position? I've been seeing a lot of different angles from multiple different Bears fans. I'm sorry. To me, beating those fuckers from up north is so much more satisfying than 100%. Picking 7th or 8th or 9th in the draft.
Not even close.
And there was no guarantee the Bears were going to fall into that slot anyway. The misery, the anguish I've felt over the years continuing to lose to the enemy up north. And finally we can put that to bed. And Caleb is 1-0 at Lambeau. He's 1-0 at Lambeau. He's never lost at Lambeau. I mean, I love it. And for all the salty Green Bay fans, they're like, oh, well, Jordan Love was injured. And, some of our starters weren't playing in the fourth quarter. Yeah, they were. And, heart squats Christian Watson. I got nothing against Christian Watson.
Yeah.
I hope he recovers from his ACLs. I mean, really, that was a cool moment. Jalen Johnson, making sure he was okay. Good sportsmanship.
Football. Yeah.
And trust me, I would much rather us have beaten Green Bay with Jordan Love healthy in the lineup. I didn't want us to beat Malik Willis, but it just happened. A win's a win, and I'm not going to apologize for that. Yep. And for all the shit that they've talked throughout the years, finally, it's good to be on the reciprocating end. So bear down. Hope you guys all enjoyed your Victory Monday. I hope you guys all wear your Bears gear out, and I hope all you guys talked crap to all your Packer fans.
First thing I did.
To your neighbors that have just, again, relentlessly let you have it throughout these last 5-6 years. We have yet to beat them, and we finally got over the hump.
Yes.
And it was so much of a Bears game, so much of a Bears win.
The trickery,
Bears lost. The trickery punt return by Josh Blackwell, shades of Johnny Knox, loved that.
Yeah.
Defense getting a couple key takeaways. The Bears fumbling the ball. One of our best players, DJ Moore, fumbling the ball on one of those stupid lateral screens. And it was just it set up the notion that this is going to be another typical devastating loss in epic fashion. Only the Bears would find a way to lose this game. And somehow, some way, our boy, Mr. Caleb Williams, it was not a pretty game by any means. And this was not Caleb's best game by far. But I don't know about you. He continues to show when the game is on the line. I swear, it's like the playbook gets thrown out the window and he just goes out there and it's like some backyard schoolyard bullshit. Like he finds a way to put the team in position to win. And every guy that has played quarterback that has come through this city, they have not had that factor of, I'm going to do whatever it takes to put my team in position to get a win. And number 18's got it. He's got it. Like he has shown time in and time again this season that he has what it takes when the game is on the line, last drive of the game, to put your team in position to win the game. And it's just amazing. And it's refreshing. And it feels good knowing that 18's on our team. Like truly feels so good knowing that we've got a guy that's going to do whatever it takes to put us in position, to put Cairo up there to kick a game-winning field goal. If the Bears don't Bears it up. And we
they almost did.
They almost did. But it feels so good knowing we beat them. And we're still a dysfunctional franchise. We're still a clown organization. 1,000%. And we're going to get to everything about yesterday's press conference, but how good did it feel?
You were like touched on some of the things that I thought were key moments in that game. That punt return was phenomenal. I don't know if you recall this. There was, I think you touched on it with Johnny Knox. There was a punt return against the Packers. Is this the one you were talking about? There was a punt return, the exact same thing.
It was the Johnny Knox fake
and
out.
And it got flagged.
But it got flagged, and they took it back, and there wasn't really
a flag.
Solid, significant evidence of why the flag was called when Johnny Knox did it. I mean, I don't know how many seasons ago. This was,
redemption arc.
Almost like a decade ago, I want to say, maybe even more. But it's just so funny that we pulled that again. Richard Hightower, props to you, sir. I mean, that was an awesome call. Great coaching there.
There was that one. The takeaways. The Jalen Johnson. Tell me that little punch didn't give you Peanut Tillman vibes. That looks so good.
Charles Tillman,
good, baby.
Charles Tillman was smiling down somewhere, wherever he was watching that play. And props to Jalen Johnson also on being selected to the Pro Bowl for his second consecutive year, the only Bears player to make the Pro Bowl.
We represented.
I'm just glad someone's going.
Yeah, I was so scared.
I'm just glad someone's going. Like, woof.
DJ fumbling. Like, if you looked at his hand after the hit, it was just a good hit, and his fingers were bleeding, so it was a strong enough hit to his hand where he was going to fumble anyway. I'm not worried about that. That was such a. But you're right. It was one of those ones where it was like the Bears are going to find the Bears' way to lose this game, and I refuse to message any Packers fans. I love shit talking to people, but I refuse to message anyone until that game was over. And I'm like, I am so glad I didn't because we almost lost that fucking thing. But yeah, when we marched down there and everyone was like screaming like, stop it! Get the ball down. 2 seconds. I'm thinking we're gonna fuck this up. It's gonna happen again. This is gonna be the what's it called game, the Detroit game all over again. But yeah, when Cairo walked out, I'm like, this is it. This is the moment. Make or break, Cairo.
Right.
If you don't kick this, you are in Cody Parkey land, dude. Just you better kick this ball.
Yeah.
Stoked.
Yeah.
Stoked.
Yeah. So again, was not a pretty game by any means, but the Bears found a way to get it done. They snapped their 10-game losing streak, sorry, 10-game losing streak, but 11 games to Green Bay.
Yeah.
And what a way to end the season, this miserable season. I mean, this was arguably probably the most miserable season I've experienced as a Bears fan. Just knowing all the hype, the optimism, where we were in August, in early September, from like the Hard Knocks hype to
2024 preseason Chicago Bears.
Jack, you will always live that undefeated 2024 Bears preseason. I've told you this off air so many times. In 1985, the Bears were 1-3 in the preseason, and they ended up winning the Super Bowl. So preseason doesn't mean shit, but we'll always have the undefeated 2024 preseason.
Well, it's like that last game. That last game for me was the Super Bowl. That was the Bears Super Bowl right there against Green Bay at Lambeau, and I don't care. And I loved it.
And Lily, don't let any of your Packer friends like rain on your parade. Like, enjoy this, milk it.
You are watching this.
Milk it like all year. You know how many years of misery we've had? So like, I'm going to enjoy this. I don't even care. So, and I want you guys to as well.
Did you see that stat where it said that the Bears were 1-5 in the
NFC North, and so
NFC North, and so were Green Bay. The Green Bay Packers were a blocked punt away from being 0-6.
A blocked field goal.
Yeah, blocked field goal. Sorry, yeah. All I'm saying is, Green Bay, you're about to go from first to worst. You're so excited.
Don't break the mic. Don't break the mic now. But I mean, but. This is what happens. I mean, like we seriously root for a clown franchise, but as long as we beat Green Bay, all is right in the world, right?
Everything is right in the world.
Yeah, forget draft positioning, right? Who needs draft positioning?
I mean, look, if you look at the draft position, we are still in a good position. I don't think us moving from 9th down to 6th or 5th. I think the 5th was the best that we could end up mathematically. I don't think it's going to make a difference. The offensive line talent will be dropping down to us. I have no doubt about it.
I was going to say, save it for the Bare Necessities pre-draft show. Going to be coming before you guys know it. We'll be talking about the draft, dissecting possible draft prospects for the Bears. Is that Will Campbell? Is that Kelvin Banks Jr.? Both tackles. I mean, I want both of them if possible. If we live in a world where we could get both of them, obviously that's not going to happen. But either or would be amazing. Jack, let's move on from the game, if we may, and let's try and dissect, and let's try and give our thoughts on whatever press conference that was yesterday. In typical Bears fashion, the Bears had their end-of-the-season press conference about how a disappointing season this was, how they're going to do their best to get this right, and this has just been a continuous cycle since 2011, when George McCaskey, the Bears chairman, became the chairman of the team. And, you know, I will, as frustrated as we are with Ryan Poles right now, I do want to give him a little bit of credit.
Yes.
Because he answered every question. And there were a lot of tough questions. There was one incident yesterday where he didn't look and he did not sound great when there was pushback on Caleb's rookie year. And that really bothered me, and that really has bothered a lot of people. Dan Wiederer, who's wrote about the Bears for several years on the beat. I believe he writes for the Sun-Times. You know, I think people need to understand that Dan Wiederer put out pretty much like a 3,000-word article several weeks ago. It was pretty much a hit piece on why Ryan Poles should be fired, and I think people are forgetting about that. Dan Wiederer asked, what led to the disruption and the stress of Caleb Williams' rookie year, and like how did that affect Ryan Poles? And Ryan Poles had the nerve and the audacity to clap back and ask, "What stress? What disruption?"
That was rough.
And
rough watch.
And that sent Bears Twitter yesterday into a tizzy.
Yeah.
I was watching the press conference live. It was around 10 o'clock local time here. And when that happened, I mean, I stopped what I was doing and I like lifted my head up. I'm like, whoa, did he just actually seriously ask that? Like, did you not notice your quarterback getting sacked, 67, 68 times? He went through 3 offensive coordinators. The head coach that you decided to run back got fired in the middle of the year. No stress, no disruption for
his
18.
body language. His body language every game, looking up at the sky. Justin Fields, 2023, just always looking up in the sky, just like, dude, I am done. Yes,
There is just
acknowledge
a lot of
it.
And I do think he did acknowledge, and he did go on record saying that, this year was on him. It's up to him to put out a winning product and a roster on the field that can compete. And the Bears fell short this year, clearly. Like, Poles own that. But yesterday's press conference did not inspire confidence to me. Lots of vague and empty answers. Yes, he took accountability, but I wish Ryan Poles went into more specific details on why the things went wrong the way they did.
Right.
Not just saying they went wrong, not saying they went wrong, but why did they go wrong? Poles came out saying that he will lead the head coaching search, and we're going to get to the head coaching cycle in just a second here. But he lost me when he said that panel includes Kevin Warren and ... George McCaskey. You lose all of us when you say George McCaskey. And I know George owns the team. Like, I get it. I understand. But, like, leave that part out. Don't tell us that. Because George McCaskey has proved to us since 2011 that he has no fucking idea what he's doing. Like, none. He's a lost little puppy dog that does not know what to say. If you guys are a fan of local radio here in town, 670 The Score, Chris Tannehill is their audio producer, their audio engineer. He and I'll try and post this somewhere if you guys follow me on social. He posted like an audio highlight reel montage of George McCaskey apologizing to Bears fans like 5 times now about like how Bears fans should be disappointed and how they're going to get this right. 5 head coaches later, 14 offensive coordinators later, 3 general managers later. Like, what are we doing, guys? What are we doing? How as a fan base, how do you expect us to not be cynical in this moment of time? How do you expect us to not question? How do you expect us to not question? You guys have no idea what you're doing. Mm-hmm. And we have no proof and no real recognition that they're going to get it right this time because they continue to fail time in and time again. It's bothering. It is bothersome how they haven't even been able to own up to their past mistakes. They just continue to say the same bullshit every 3 years. Every 3 years we're doing one of these press conferences. It's exhausting. It's exhausting. No other franchise does this like the Bears. The Jets are dysfunctional.
The Jets, yeah.
Jets. Cleveland's a little dysfunctional, but the words that are echoed, I mean, the Bears just make them sound. They just make themselves sound so stupid.
Right.
And if I'm a head coach candidate, I know what the Bears brand is, and I know that this is a historic franchise and all the history, blah 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 blah. But where does this franchise stand right now? Like nationally, if I'm not a Bears fan, like how are we looked? Like, what is the light that is shown down on our franchise? It's a joke. Like, we're known as a joke.
I mean, you kind of brought up a great point here. If you're a head coach candidate, you're a head coach candidate that wants to be a head coach. Technically, you don't unless you're in demand like Ben Johnson. You don't care per se about where you land. You want that job. That being said, I don't want someone looking at our team saying, I don't care, I'll get the job, I just want the job. You want that Ben Johnson. Is Ben Johnson looking at this team right now saying, is Ryan Poles putting this team in the best position possible to be successful? Is Kevin Warren? is George McCaskey. Do I want to be the head coach of the George McCaskey Chicago Bears? And it's a tough question. And it's one of those things where if we don't get this right this season, if we don't get this right in this offseason, and I am going to be looking at George McCaskey and Warren and Poles and saying, you have to get this next season right, or you are losing me as a Chicago Bears fan. It is that simple. It is you. If you want to put your, I mean, Ryan Poles has got a job. He just wants a job. Kevin Warren just wants a job. George McCaskey, if you really care about the Chicago Bears franchise, you need to get rid of it. You need to pass it on to someone that is going to put us in the right position.
George McCaskey had the audacity to say that he heard the sell the team chants, but what bothered him more was the Lions fans that overtook Soldier Field the week prior and how they were being too loud and they almost affected the snap count. That's what bothered him more.
It's because of him. It's because of him.
And yet, I saw yesterday on Twitter there was a report saying that the CEO of Circus Sports or the CEO of some big sports book is a huge Detroit Lions fan and actually paid George McCaskey for his personal suite to use to watch the Lions beat the Bears at Soldier Field. How much of a fucking hypocrite?
Yeah.
How much of a hypocrite do you have to be to make a statement like that? You fucking loser. I mean,
it's
seriously.
So frustrating.
My father-in-law he hates Pete Carroll. Despises Pete Carroll. He says Pete Carroll has the most punchable face ever. I don't know. I don't know. And we're going to get to the head coaching search in just a second here. It has been confirmed Pete Carroll will be at Hallis Hall tomorrow to interview for the Bears' vacant head coach position. I don't know how George McCaskey doesn't have a more punchable face. Every time he goes up in front of the mic, my blood boils. I get stressed. I grab my chair and just
stress ball.
I wish somebody had I wish somebody could just be like, George, listen, you're not great with the media ever. He's never been good talking to the media. He clearly gets a little angst, a little nervous. And I know he has genuine intentions. I get that. But he makes things worse every time he goes in front of the microphone. I wish he would just stay out of the limelight. I wish he would just take a step back and just not say anything. Because every time he opens up his mouth, he makes things worse. And he makes me more embarrassed by the minute to be a Bears fan and to be a loyal, avid Bears fan. And knowing that he's in charge. And he's going to continue to be in charge until someone frames him for some type of conduct. I'm praying something happens one day where there's an investigation and McCaskey's have to sell. Literally, I don't know what else is it going to take for him to get out of here, man. Guy has no idea what he's doing. Ever, ever, ever. This is going to come down to Poles. This is Poles' decision, right? It's going to come down to Ryan Poles, and this is make or break. This is make or break time. Also, I don't know if you caught this. I don't know if you caught the audio when Kevin Warren was speaking yesterday. Someone asked Kevin Warren his commitment to Ryan Poles, and if he's just on a 1-year deal, or I don't know how the question was phrased. And Kevin Warren was quoted saying, "A year is a lifetime." So did he just confirm that this is a 1-year prove it for Ryan Poles? Why would he openly say that? It just
I've got a problem with that.
This
because that's just going to continue that cycle. We're going to hire a coach with our GM, and if that coach doesn't work out, that GM gets fired, a new GM comes in, that new GM wants to rebuild the franchise and is in his vision, and does that mean that coach is going to be on there? And then we're just going to Caleb Williams will become Justin Fields 2.0. Now, here's my thing. I think if we're reading into this, Ryan Poles is going to get a contract extension. You are not going to publicly say Ryan Poles is in charge of this hiring process if you are not in the process of the contract extension. I think the contract extension is going to be based on the hiring decision. If you get this decision wrong, so I don't even think they're going to do the contract extension until mid-season. They're not going to give him guaranteed money, then fire him until they've seen what the results are. It'll be we are 6-1. All right, contract extension because you've earned it.
Right.
But if we're 2-1, you can just cut him. No money guaranteed. So I don't think there's a contract extension until next year. So we don't even have to think about that.
It just.
But money makes the world go round. That's the problem.
The things that were said yesterday, just continue to puzzle me, puzzle others, and it just proves time in and time again. Like, who was running the show? Who was running the show there? I don't think anybody knows. I don't even think they know who truly is running the show. It's been frustrating. I will say this. The net of head coaching candidates, the wide net that has been flung open. I'm counting 15 names right now, and you can cross off Mike McCarthy, the Cowboys head coach. The Cowboys denied the Bears' request to talk to McCarthy, but I know for a fact that Mike Vrabel is in town today at Hallis Hall, in-person interview with the Bears. Pete Carroll is scheduled to talk to the Bears tomorrow at Hallis Hall, and then the list gets pretty crazy. Former Stanford head coach David Shaw, who has been relevant in 10 years. You have Mike Kafka, the Giants offensive coordinator, local boy, went to St. Rita, played quarterback at Northwestern, has some ties to Poles during their time in Kansas City. Bills offensive coordinator Joe Brady, look what he's done this year with Josh Allen. Ravens offensive coordinator Todd Monken. Lamar and the Ravens are on fire. But then it gets really puzzling. You have the Cardinals offensive coordinator Drew Petzing, which is going to be like another Mark Trestman hire if the Bears go that route, and I literally will disown this franchise and go root for somebody else. Steelers offensive coordinator Arthur Smith, who if you've talked to any Atlanta Falcons fan or Steelers fan, ask them what they think about Arthur Smith. Lions defensive coordinator Aaron Glenn. This would be the most Bears move ever. Defensive coordinator of the Dolphins, Anthony Weaver. Then you have Broncos defensive coordinator, former Broncos head coach Vance Joseph. And then you round it out with the defensive coordinator for the Vikings, Brian Flores. And then, of course, the big whale, the big fish, offensive coordinator, Ben Johnson. Of that list, Jack, can you give me your top three and why?
All right. I'm going to start from
the top. It's a long list. I'm going to go from the top.
I'm going to work my way through this. Mike Vrabel will be a fantastic head coach in the New England Patriots.
Yeah.
That's a fact. He's going there to the it's a match made in heaven.
It just makes too much sense, and the Patriots already fulfilled the Rooney rule where they have to interview minority candidates, and they already did that yesterday.
They already got them out of the way.
They already got that out of the way.
So crazy.
They already got that out of the way. The Mike Vrabel to the New England Patriots reunion and how quickly they fired Gerard Mayo. Just the whole thing was bizarre, and it's just so obvious and evident. Like that seems to be what's probably in the works behind the scenes. Who knows?
I do like it.
Doesn't it seem like okay?
I would be happy for both parties if that happened. Like, yeah, we missed out on Vrabel, but that would be fantastic. Pete Carroll. I don't even know if Soldier Field is handicap accessible at this point. It's such an old stadium, and he's 73 years old. So
I'm telling you, man, he moves better for a 73-year-old than most like 6-year-olds do. Like I'm telling you, all that gum chomping, it makes his blood pump faster.
Fantastic jawline for
he's still got it. Pete Carroll still got it, and again, he's not even on my top 3, but
he's not even on my top 10.
He's not either, but I will give Pete Carroll credit. The guy has won everywhere he's gone. It's never sustainable, and he always leaves to go do something else. And the energy. This team has lacked good energy for years. Pete Carroll brings that energy.
Oh, he does.
And his teams have fun. His teams have fun, and I want the Bears to get back to fun, winning football.
Yeah.
So, not saying I want Pete Carroll, but keep that in mind. Continue,
understandable. Okay, David Shaw.
Would have been cool like 10 years ago, 12 years ago when he was winning, at Stanford with Andrew Luck. You know, like that's the David Shaw I remember when he was like, the hot college coach. But now, he's like an assistant in the Broncos organization. It's just bizarre. And I don't mind. Here's the thing. I don't mind that the Bears are talking to anyone and whoever. I don't mind that.
But
are they wasting their time?
Yes.
When Vrabel's going to quickly go to New England, or the Raiders now with Antonio Pierce being let go in Las Vegas. Like, are the Bears wasting their time talking to all these people, asking them, like, what do you think about our organization? What would you do to fix our offense, to fix where we need to go, where we want to go?
David Shaw is not it. I don't understand that one at all.
I kind of feel in a sense the Bears are putting on this show to prove to us, the fans, like, hey, we're doing our due diligence.
Oh my God, yes.
We're doing it right this time, instead of like just talking to a couple of people and then ending up with Matt Eberflus, who I don't even know how he got on the radar to begin with. Last head coaching cycle of the Bears. I feel like they're doing this to put on a show.
Except for it's having the adverse effect. I'm looking at it going, you are inept at your job if you are looking at this person, and this person, and that's what's frustrating me. I don't know how David Shaw has ended up on this list, but just scratch it off. Maybe they're hiring him for Kitman. I don't know. Giants offensive coordinator, that is absolutely laughable. I'm not even going to even.
Nope. The Cardinals offense coordinator, laughable. Petzig. I like Joe Brady. I like Todd Monken. I like Todd Monken. Joe Brady, though, has worked with amazing athletes in his time. He worked with Joe Burrow at LSU. He's working with Josh Allen now, in Buffalo. So, like, how much is that Joe Brady as opposed to, what he's got to work with? So
true,
keep that in mind.
But he gets to work with Caleb Williams. I don't know.
Keep that in mind. The defensive coordinators, I'm impressed. I know. I'm impressed with, if I had to pick any defense coordinator, and me and you have talked about this at length off air, if I had to pick any defense coordinator who I think is a good head coach, but he's burned bridges everywhere he's gone, and I think both of us have this weird intuition and this weird gut feeling that the Bears are going to end up with, like, Brian Flores.
Yeah.
Brian Flores is a very good defense coordinator, but we just had a really good defense coordinator as head coach, and look at what he did. Look how he panned out as head coach. And yes, Brian Flores was a head coach with Miami, and the whole Tua thing didn't really work out.
Right.
And they stripped that team from all the talent that Miami had. They stripped that team. It was the tank for Tua mode in Miami, and that's when Brian Flores was there, and they started building up the roster to where you guys see it now. It's still not good enough, but my top three, I want to get to this really quick before we log off here, before our 7 minutes is up here. My top three, it's Ben Johnson, it's Vrabel, and then there's a significant gap, and then I would put Flores as three. For me to feel comfortable about where the Bears are going to move forward, that's my top three. But there's a significant gap after Vrabel to Flores.
I'm going to throw a dark horse in there for you. I'm going to say it's Ben Johnson. It's a no-brainer. Don't mess this up. You have got the most simple job. I don't care how many people you interview. Ben Johnson is the man.
It's so clear and it's so evident what they need to do, and it's really worrying me that they're wasting all their time casting this giant net to prove to the fans, to prove to the media, like, we're gonna do our due diligence and talk to everybody. It's like, no, motherfuckers, like you guys need to talk to like five people, narrow it down to five, and really focus all your energy, your assets, and your resources on getting the big fish. And you know who the big fish we need.
Right, as a sales standpoint, as a salesperson, I want to make the one person feel like they are the priority. I am not casting a big net of 15 saying we want to interview everyone. I am saying, Ben Johnson, you are the one person we want to interview, and we're going to put all our eggs in your basket. We want you to make you feel that this is your position.
Yep.
I don't give a shit about these interviews. If I'm Ben Johnson and I'm seeing, why are the Bears interviewing 15 people when they apparently want me? That's affecting me. I'm sat there going, are you sure you want me? Because you're asking all these other people. That's what I'm thinking of if I'm in Ben Johnson's pocket. Like, Ben Johnson's thinking, all right, this team's only asked for 3 people. I'm one of 3. that says something to me. I don't know. It's just a different perspective. But Ben Johnson's number one. I'm not going to put Mike Vrabel on the list because I think he is Patriots destined. There's no point in putting him on the list. I do think, although I don't want a defensive coordinator, I would put Brian Flores in there at 2, just because of what he has done to that Vikings defense. They are absolutely fucking formidable, and they are terrifying.
It's and also it's not just that he's a good defense coordinator that people need to understand about Flores. Go back, I don't know, the last 5-6 years watching Bears football, we have to be like one of the most undisciplined teams in the whole league.
Yes.
The dumb bullshit that you see every game, the dumb penalties like that we take, that shit needs to stop. That shit needs to go. And of all the guys on the list, there's several that I think would immediately come in and clean this locker room up and like make guys accountable for all the dumb stuff that they do.
But Brian Flores will be number one at doing
Flores, Vrabel, and
Yeah.
you're going to laugh, but Mike McCarthy would be another one of those guys that all the dumb Bears football we've watched, that shit would immediately end if you bring in one of those guys.
I wouldn't have hated it. I wouldn't have loved it because of the Green Bay thing. That's how much I fucking hate Green Bay. But I wouldn't have hated it either. Number 3, I'm going to cover myself up because I don't feel comfortable saying this, and we were just talking about this off air. But it's... let me just...
Talk to me. Who's your last and third candidate for the Bears?
Cliff Kingsbury.
Oh, no. He's not even on the list. I don't even think...
That's just because he's in Washington right now, and they're in the playoffs and they can't interview him. I mean, that's the same with Brian Flores. Oh, well, Brian Flores has got the bye.
Think about all the divorcees on the North Shore in the Glencoe, Glenview, Winnetka area if Cliff Kingsbury became a Chicago Bears head coach. Think about how excited all those divorcees would be. That handsome devil. Yeah, I get it, and I understand the appeal. Him working with Caleb at USC, but it was only for 1 year, and it wasn't Caleb's. Wasn't
true.
It wasn't Caleb's Heisman year.
No,
he's been a head coach in the league before, and there wasn't sustained success. He didn't lead the Cardinals to, a bunch of
with DeAndre Hopkins.
He didn't. It wasn't. There was like some moments of brilliance and flashes, and the Cardinals did have some fun on offense for sure. More fun than we've had our whole lives. I get that, but can Kingsbury corral this whole group? Can Cliff Kingsbury resurrect Tyreek Stevenson's career? Would
I'm
you
going to give you an
trust
example
him to do that? It's like
Dan Quinn, head coach, went back to a coordinator, came back as a head coach, round 2. Look, he's looking good. Looking good.
But the difference is Dan Quinn is an NFL coach. I think Cliff Kingsbury is more of a college guy, and I think the Washington season this year is more of a reflection on Dan Quinn as a head coach than Cliff Kingsbury
as an offensive coordinator.
Being an offense coordinator. That's just me. That's just my gut saying that. I'm not sure.
Let me give you a just a dark horse, a bit of a dart throw here. We talk about someone that's followed Caleb Williams throughout his career. Lincoln Riley.
I know what you're going to say.
Yep. Lincoln Riley.
If the Bears were to hire a coach out of college, I want him to be the guy from college. Like, I want him to be the Marcus Freeman or, not Ryan Day, but sure looks like Ohio State's going to go all the way this year.
Nick Saban.
Sure, yeah, I would love Nick Saban, but he'd already be on this list. I don't mind that the Bears are talking to anyone and everyone. That's
right.
Great. It's the way that they've gone about it this time around. And they have to let everybody know that this is what they're doing because they haven't done this in the past. It was malpractice last offseason not talking to Harbaugh when he was available and deciding to run it back. I don't know how many times I got to say it. I mean, that was truly malpractice running it back with Eberflus, knowing Harbaugh would have spoken to the Bears. All this talk about how Harbaugh was dead set on the Chargers and
bullshit.
He didn't want to take anything with the Bears. Bullshit. The history between Harbaugh and the Bears, like it
It would have been Mike Vrabel and the New England Patriots.
It still bothers me today how we didn't even pick up the phone. The circus that the Bears are making this out to be is what's bothering me. And I'm sorry, but all these candidates, not all of them are going to come in with flowers and roses for this franchise. There is a lot to work with here, sure, in terms of roster and salary cap and draft positioning. And we have Caleb Williams. We have a guy that you can help grow and mold to be a successful franchise quarterback. But like, let's be real here. Let's not kid ourselves. This is still the Chicago Bears we're talking about, and ownership is a mess. And who does the head coach report to? Is it Poles? Is it George? I mean, nobody knows who's running the show. And I think at the end of the day, that still is going to come back and haunt this team. What? And if the Bears don't end up with a Ben Johnson, with a Vrabel, with Brian Flores, if the Bears go a weird route and they hire Anthony Weaver, I don't know. I don't. I know, dude. I don't know. I don't know how. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know where my fandom will be if they go off the beaten path again with a guy that no one saw coming. I don't know how much more of my patience will be there with this franchise.
I would rather be a Jets fan.
They got to stop this whole shtick of trying to be the smartest guy in the room when they've shown for the last 15 years that they're not. They have no idea what they're doing. So it makes so much sense to pick the guy that does make the most sense. And if it doesn't work, at least they tried.
And you went with the smart decision.
The smart decision.
No brainer.
The no brainer. Ben Johnson, Vrabel. That is the no-brainer. Make it work. And if it doesn't work, we won't fault you for trying, because at the time, that was the best available option.
Yes, yes.
I won't fault them for trying to make the best available decision right now, and it's those two guys.
McCaskey even said that,
if they try to get cute and they try to outsmart everybody, which they've tried to do in the past with Nagy, with Trestman, with Eberflus. And where do we find ourselves? Having these dumb press conferences after 3 years. Every 3 years, we're doing this cycle. So I'm praying to God. I'm praying to the football gods above. Don't mess this up, Bears. Please make the right decision. Please, please, please. Ryan Poles projected all this confidence about culture last offseason and then proceeded to hire Shane Waldron and run it back with Eberflus. So again, Jack, what
shaking on the sidelines?
So again, what should make us believe that this franchise is going to get it right this time around? So we got to wrap the show up here. But again, I'm urging all the listeners here. You have every right to be cynical. You have every right to feel what you're feeling. Who we root for, they have never given us an ounce of satisfaction, an ounce of pure commitment to try and give you an understanding of how they think, why they think the way that they think, and make a sound decision, because they've never done that. Since Lovie Smith was let go, this has been a circus clown show. So you have every right to be cynical. You have every right to be frustrated in this process. This was such a frustrating year for all of us. And you have every right to believe that they're not going to get it right this time, because they haven't gotten it right pretty much our whole lives. So I'm here to tell you it's quite all right to feel the way you're feeling, because I'm feeling it too, and so is Jack. Because if they don't end up with those three guys, Johnson, Vrabel, or Flores, I truly do not know the direction that this team really wants to head. They make it sound good in their head, but actually doing it is another thing. Actions speak louder than words. Just like my mother taught me when I was younger. Actions speak louder than words. The Bears can talk all they want, but showing action, showing us a winning culture, they've yet to prove that. So
this is the year.
This is
make or break.
This is like you said, Jack, this is going to make or break the Chicago Bears for the next 5-10 years if they get this hire wrong. This is huge. They cannot mess this up. I think Poles knows he has to hit a home run here, because if not, he will be gone. Warren will fire him. McCaskey will let him go if this is another failure.
Yep.
So until next time, guys, I know we're going to do probably a breaking Bears head coach show, but until then, again, we want to thank you guys so much for sticking with us this year. Been really, really difficult, but appreciate all the support, all the love. And we're probably going to put out a show whenever the Bears do make their next hire. But until then, Happy New Year to everybody. Enjoy a Bears-Packers win. I'm gonna soak it in for weeks to come. Still doing it, right? Still doing it. Soak that in, and keep in touch and continue to support the show. You can find us on Apple, on Spotify, on YouTube, wherever you guys get your podcasts. Make sure to check out old content if you guys haven't listened to old shows in the past. He's Jack Lomax. I'm John Presnowski. Until the Bears find their next head coach. Until next time, be good, be well, and don't forget to bear down.